Yo guys, what up everybody? It's Swole here, and as you guys know, My Hero Academia has been absolute peak right now. And since the anime is so good, and since I wait every single Saturday to see a new episode, I thought who else would be better to make a video on than Deku himself. As you guys probably saw in the title and thumbnail already, we're obviously going to be ranking and explaining every one of Deku's quirks. But yeah, without making this intro any longer than it should be, let's get right into it. Number 6, Smokescreen. Originally from the 6th user end, this quirk is perfect for creating a quick distraction or shrouding oneself in secrecy. It is the least offensive quirk out of all of Deku's abilities. Smokescreen emits a thick dark smoke, making it the perfect cover. When Deku chooses to, he can instantly hide in the cloud of smoke, very similar to a ninja smoke bomb. Just like a smoke bomb, Smokescreen's caster isn't immune to its effects, so it must be used strategically. And describe to Deku all of the quirks within One For All, but focus especially on his Smokescreen quirk, because with the thoughtless use of this quirk, it could easily become more of a disadvantage than an advantage to the user. And for that reason, it has to be at number 6, simply for the fact that this quirk needs the user to have a brain, or else the quirk is practically useless. Number 5, Float. Float originally belonged to Nana Shimura, the 7th user of One For All and All Might's mentor. Float is a very simple quirk with one purpose. It grants the user the ability to fly and retain full control of their movements while in midair. Once Deku unlocked this quirk, it quickly became his preferred method of movement, and for good reason. After years of training with One For All's great power, the Float quirk that Deku currently wields is far stronger than the previous Nana Shimura. It is even faster now, but the reason I place it at number 5 is that when combined with other quirks like Black Whip or Fajin, it is the only time that the quirk's true potential is released. Just like with Smokescreen, it really depends on the user, because without Deku's other quirks, Float Screen really wouldn't be that practical. Number 4, Black Whip. Black Whip, which originally belonged to Daigoro Banjo, the 5th user of One For All, allows its user to create and independently control several tough black tendrils from their body. Black Whip is Deku's most versatile quirk. Its many tendrils can be used as extra limbs, allowing Deku to grab objects he'd ordinarily be unable to reach. They're even strong enough to support Deku's full weight when he chooses to either swing from buildings or catapult himself away from Class 1A. Black Whip also has a lot of utility in combat. All the mobility advantages they give Deku are then applied to his combat, for example with the ability to grab and restrain opponents from impossible distances. With Black Whip, restraining dangerous villains has become quite easy for Deku. This quirk is so useful that I think number 4 is a pretty good spot, because putting it any higher on the list would do a disservice to all of these stupidly overpowered quirks we are about to go over. Number 3, Gear Shift. Gear Shift, also known as Transmission, previously belonged to the 2nd user of One For All, whose name remains unknown and is the final quirk that Deku will inherit. Transmission allows Deku to modify the speed of any object he touches. Like many other touch-activated quirks, Deku can use Transmission on himself, turning himself from a respectively quick hero to little more than a green blur. Transmission appears to be able to increase Deku's speed in 3 stages. Also, after activating the quirk on himself, Deku can increasingly slow his opponents with every punch he lands. Think of what Fajin did for Deku's power. Transmission does exactly this for his speed. For short bursts of time, the My Hero Academia protagonist can push himself past 45% of One For All to eclipse even All Might's top speeds. As he grows in strength and becomes able to use higher percentages of One For All, Deku will become the strongest user of One For All. This is a great quirk with great versatility, and since it's this strong, I'm honestly surprised that it's only number 3, but these next 2 quirks are just way too strong. Number 2, Danger Sense. Higake Shinomori, also known as the 4th user of One For All, used this quirk to remain hidden from the public while he strengthened One For All. But Deku adopts a more active approach to using this sensory quirk. As the name suggests, Danger Sense alerts Deku to any potential threats within his vicinity. The quirk only responds to negative emotions and hostile intent towards Deku. It is a subtle distinction, but this means that the quirk is not as reliable when dealing with non-human threats. The quirk's one main weakness though remains in Himiko Toga, the League of Villains' sadistic and troubled shapeshifter. Toga is genuinely in love with Deku, and even though her preferred methods of expressing this love are potentially fatal, Danger Sense never registers her as a threat since she harbors no ill will towards him, or at least she thinks that she harbors no ill will towards him. This quirk was similarly unresponsive when Deku battled his classmates. Although they used force, Class 1A had his best interests at heart, and Danger Sense picked up on that. This quirk is basically just a dumbed down version of Ultra Instinct if you really want to think about it that way. Nonetheless, this quirk would personally be my pick if I were to to choose any of Deku's quirks. I just think that it's so useful, especially if I were to bring it into real life. Just having danger sense would be awesome. But yeah, let me know what quirk you guys are choosing and why. But anyways, let's get to number 1. Fajin. Fajin originally belonged to the as yet unnamed third user of One for All. As the first offensive quirk Deku inherited, Fajin gave him his most dramatic boost of power since he perfected full cowling. This quirk allows Deku to charge up and store kinetic energy inside his body when he performs repetitive movements. Deku can then release this energy whenever he chooses, giving him an explosive burst of speed and power. Deku can also regulate the amount of energy that Fajin releases every time, and recharging it is as simple as just waving his arms or just doing a bunch of squats. Its ease of use and activation makes it very reliable in combat, especially since it boosts his 45% allowable limit of One for All to imitate All Might's 100% for short bursts of time. The overall effect of Fajin is that it allows Deku to pack devastating power behind deceptively light hits. It was the first quirk that suggested he would be able to surpass All Might in strength, and that is why this quirk simply has to be number 1. Besides how funny Deku looks while using it, this quirk is just stupid overpowered. The power kind of reminds me of Sphinx from Hunter x Hunter if you guys ever watched Hunter x Hunter, except for being a much better version because Sphinx has to wind up like 100 times while using it. But yeah, so Deku's is definitely a little bit better in my opinion. Anyways, that has been the end of the video. If you guys did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate you guys leaving a like because it would really help with the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys didn't enjoy this video for any reason, just let me know in the comments down below. I'm just starting to make these higher quality videos, so I would really appreciate any criticism. Anyways, it's been your boy Swole, and I'm out. Peace.